I'm at the Wanshou Sea, or the Temple of Longevity, or Wanshou Temple. Si is temple. Kind of like Je or Ji in Japan was temple. Je and Si. Let's see. I need a ticket. It should be free today. Hello. Ticket? Here? A little confusing sometimes when you go up to temples if you want to go in for a ticket. Here? Hello. Ticket? Ah. Hello. Ticket? Passport? First 200 people on Wednesday for free. So it should be free. Last admission. Here? Ah, sign in. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Ni hao. Security in Beijing is annoying. You have to go through a metal detector every time you go through the subway and take your bag on and off. And if you're like me and you're carrying an umbrella and your bag's open all the time because it's overflowing with guidebooks and your lunch, like mine is, then you're gonna be annoyed as shit every time you want to go in and outside a temple. Can't wait till I get the new iPhone and I can get rid of guidebooks altogether. Just get ebooks. I'm totally done with it for the experience. Alright. So let's find me. I'm gonna record a track here now that we're inside the temple. The temple here has an interesting history because this is where, yesterday I went to the Sackler. This is where the emperor and his entourage would stop en route to the Summer Palace by Canal, which is just out front. So things to look out for here. It was ruined, burned down 37 during the Republic period, army barracks during the Cultural Revolution. So the years have not been kind to it. I didn't see any of the ruins around it, the Yanqing Temple and the Dragon King Temple. Supposedly there were once 50 temples that line the canal going up to the Summer Palace. But we should see some art. They call it the Beijing Art Museum actually here. And I noticed when I went to the Buddha Temple they were calling it the something Beijing Stone Art Carving Museum, but it was under renovation. The whole thing was closed at Buddha Temple. That was a waste of my morning to go over there. Thanks, Lonely Planet. When did this go to print? They didn't put it in there? This has been closed since 2013. They have other stuff in here that says as of 2013, blah blah blah, as the time of print, which was like 2013. They didn't put anything in here about it. Whatever. They're not perfect. So Wednesdays, they got that right. And then you can take the boat they're talking about here to the Summer Palace. So we should see a dozen or so R hats inside one of the halls. 5-meter high gold lacquer brass statues, long gone. So now they have a miniature Ming Dynasty pagoda that is alloyed to gold, silver, zinc, lead. We'll see some dorji and purbas, Tibetan ritual dagger. A kapala bowl made from a human skull. So that's that. The Buddhist art exhibit of Ming and Qing dynasties. Yesterday when I went to the bus stop and back, I took the 300 bus down the outer ring road to get back to the 6th line. I saw a little sign for the Beijing Art Museum. And Time Out magazine had this listed as the Beijing Art Museum. Picture on Temple Gate symbolizing having great luck. The picture is on top of the Arch Temple Gate. There's blue sky, scud, and 100 red bats in the picture. The bats are in the kind of form. They are flying between blue sky and the cloud. The sentence that many red bats fly in the sky at the same time is a homophone of having great luck in Chinese. Ba, I think, is 8. Sounds like bat, that's why 8's a lucky number. Picture implies that people who come to the temple have great luck. It's not a homonym, it's a homophone. It sounds similar, but it's not exactly the same sound. I think because of the tones, maybe, is why it's not exactly the same. So I noticed they don't use homonym, they use homophone. I love this new app. Now there's supposed to be a way to pause the video as well, but I don't know if I have that turned off maybe. What is that? Flash, on and off. Maybe I gotta turn it on. There's supposed to be a way to pause video, like when I was signing my name in. I think there's a way that I can pause the video so I don't have to put the video down and then worry about trying to edit it later and I forget and it's in the video forever. This is the Hall of the Diva Kings, built in the 5th year of the Ming Emperor Wanli's reign and repaired in the Qing dynasty. It was used for worship to the Buddha of Sak, Big Belly, Mile Buddha, Maitreya Buddha, or sometimes they call him Malefo, the Laughing Buddha, the future Buddha. He was really a monk that went around in the 5th or 6th century, I think. Let's see. And a statue of the protective god. It used to be statues of 4 heavenly kings on the 2 sides, and they are non-existent here today. So this shows the canal back in the day. You would have had a whole bunch of temples lined up along it, and it would have been somewhat of a processional avenue for the king and queen, the lady. It would be for the lady. The Emperor Dowager was the queen mother behind, power behind everybody for a lot of the years that canal would have been used. Shishi. Shishi? Sishi. Sishi. C is like a TS. C-I-X-I. And X is like shia. Shia. C. Shia. Sishi. 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 There's the main hall. Do 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 do. I don't know where to go, I can't do it alone. Try, but I don't know why. Hello. You know, it's weird. You get used to using a third-party app like I did, and it works okay, and there's like little annoyances like you can't take pictures in it while you're doing it, and that sort of stuff. And you can't zoom in and out, but you figure, oh well, not a big deal. And then by accident, you know, I end up with something that works much better for me now. It seems to, anyway. This is my first real long video using this Movie Pro app. It was $4.99 and I just needed something this morning. Hello.
先看那边。
Sign?
那个房间，哎，先看那边，对，看完那边看这边。
This one. This is stuff unearthed from Jingxi province. The zoom is nice because I don't have to move the camera in and out. You can just hold it. You can change the speed that the zoom goes at too. Make it a little less fast. Is that too slow? Maybe a little faster. So these would have been for a jade belt that you would have worn if you were in the entourage of the emperor. If you were like a high up official anyway. This would have been something you could wear. The one question I still have is if I upgrade my iPhone to a 4S or to a 6 Plus, will I end up with the same quality video if I'm using a third-party app that reduces it to 720? Or will the better camera lenses mean that even though it's in 720, I would get a significantly better video using that camera versus this one if I record it in the third-party app? You know what I'm saying? Supposedly the new iPhone 6 Plus allows the third-party apps to work right with the camera. Oh, so you can control the aperture and all that stuff. Yeah. See, it's good for this too. This would have been real hard to do, my old phone. I love it. Wow, it's so much better of an app. This camera. There were times when just because I wanted to zoom in and out, I'd record something in the native app at 1080p in my iPhone 5S, and it would be like this huge file just because I wanted to zoom in a couple of times, you know, because I was far away from something or there was action going on that I was recording. And there were times I wanted to take a still shot while I was recording a video and I couldn't. So this is much better. And I think it's got an autofocus function too. The other one did, and I always had it turned off because it was quite annoying. I always wanted to focus on its own on stuff. Sometimes you can't be lazy though, if you really want a good picture. What it will do is allow you to get in closer than the glass. It does allow me. So that's nice. They legitimately can call themselves, I guess, the Beijing Museum of Art. They've got some great stuff here. I think all the temples should focus on something and make themselves into a museum of some aspect of art and Buddhist culture. So you get something when you visit them besides just another temple. The problem that a lot of temples have, I think, is you see one, you see them all. Unless you're devout, there's really no reason to make a special effort when there's so much to see in a short vacation, temple to temple. But if they have special exhibits or some kind of permanent exhibit, a lot of them are historically significant, so that's another issue. But like Jijua Temple could focus on music. It is nice too, they have buttons on the screen instead of pinching to zoom in and out on this one. So it's much easier to use this camera one-handed, this app. So these pieces often would be worn in a leather belt or a silk belt to hold your robe, and I think they would have been somewhat ceremonial or even funerary. These look like paperweights. I've seen this, the knobs here on BJ discs before, and these paperweight items as well. I've seen these monument-shaped, these stele-shaped ones before in exhibits, and they always say that they're paperweights, which sounds kind of weird. Here it shows you how it would have been worn. Has a belt. You can see there, that guy's got one on. Kind of looks like a utility belt for a superhero, doesn't it? This looks like a pig. It's supposed to be a pig. This looks like a hairpiece. Decoration for hair. Sort of again in your hair with a little bun there. carnelians and all sorts of semi-precious stuff in this one. This belt has a gold trim encasing the jade. That's neat, never seen that before. I might have seen this once before, and you can see some of the clasps for the end of the belt there. I'm sure there would have been a strong association between gold and jade, since gold doesn't tarnish and jade was believed to have regenerative effects. That's why they often would bury their body almost completely covered in jade if you could afford it. I've seen at the Suzhou Museum and also here at the National Museum they have a couple of the burial shrouds that are made of jade rectangles, little small jade rectangles sewn together with gold thread. These are bracelets. These are brooches. Yeah, keeping the zoom on a speed 4 out of 5 seems to work well for not being too disorientating to the viewer, but not so slow that you're annoyed. This would have gone on the top of a hat. Here's the trade routes. The maritime silk and tea spice route. Here are pins or hat pins. Are those fish and dragon heads on the end? Looks like. This one's got a dragon head. Let's see. What we got here? Earrings. belt hooks. Here's some B and the round discs I was talking about earlier, made of jade. See quite a lot of these. And jade galleries around China. Some small rings. My ice is just about melted on this. I figured out a new trick is to freeze ice the night before. Most hostels have a freezer, although they usually, if there's no kitchen, only have one for staff. But if you stay as long as I do, they will let you put stuff in it. And so I'll freeze a bunch of water bottles, and then I can use it to ice my eczema for the morning at least. Sometimes it's pretty bad. And then I've got ice cold water around noon. And that way I don't have to travel with ice packs everywhere. So it's a pain in the ass getting them through security, but it's easy enough to just buy bottles of water and freeze them. And use them over and over again. Big meditation hall, built 5th year Ming Emperor Wanli's reign and repaired in Qing Dynasty. The hall is 23 meters long and 15.25 meters wide. It used to be a place for Buddhist meditation and their lectures on Buddhist scripture and Dharma. Miners going to work. The camera can't handle this jumping, trying to refocus all the time. So this is the canal they've built, huh? What are we looking at here? There's no English. So I only can guess. Showing an aqueduct. Less than 2% of the water on Earth is potable, huh? There's a well. I don't know if they're showing Shanxi province. Reminds me of stuff I've seen of Hoover Dam. Bringing water down from the mountains, huh? It's always the challenge. Look at that, they terraced it. I've seen some hanging flumes out west in America where they had like wooden flumes hanging off the sides of canyons to bring water down. The one I saw in Colorado was ruined. Just the relics of the wooden flume didn't work. But here they got it at the top of their terraced mountain here where they're doing all the farming for rice paddies. Aqueduct. Look at that. How cool is that? Looks like a roadway. In wintertime. Is this all the farmland they've irrigated with it? I feel like a dummy, I don't even know what province this is. Ni hao. Is it Shanxi?
山西，
Shanxi.
对，
Yeah, yeah.
山西，
学中文的，
Xiangxi or Shanxi?
对，
Yeah.
不是陕西，是山西，
它是河南跟山西交界一点吧。
对，是。
Henan. By Henan province. So it is Shanxi. I thought they were showing Cheyenne at the center there of that map. They had a little city that looked like the imperial city. And Cheyenne set the trend for all East Asian city planning. Even Tokyo is lined out. Kyoto. Kyoto, really, not Tokyo, is lined out, I guess, according to the principle of Xianxi in Japan. So they had to irrigate Shanxi, huh? So is this all closed off here? Or can I walk around this side? It's going on noon. I wanted to make sure I was over to wharf here to catch the boat to the summer palace. by noon. Hello.
它这肉也忒少了，
Yeah.
你看。
So that's where you can get your prayer ribbon. You hang it on the gate here. You write your name and your prayer, I think is the idea. And they tie it on here. I love being able to zoom. Ah, how I missed you. It's not the greatest zoom, but let's see. Pavilion of Emperor Qianlong stone tablet. Big stone tablet on a tortoise shell, about 4 meters high. This is where he put in Han, Man, Mongol, and Tibetan script. Qianlong was, I always thought, a dandy emperor, but he worked hard to expand the territory of China. And it's not just a tortoise shell, it's a bishi, which is a dragon tortoise, dragon head, tortoise body. Usually you see these on commemorative stelae, especially at the Confucian temple. There's a bunch of them. Because at the Confucian temple they've got so many stelae for all the imperial scholars. No pretty paint. The paint scheme in all the temples I've seen around Beijing is almost exactly the same on the corbel brackets here and the coffered ceilings. Looks like here we have a 9-tiered pagoda. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Usually they're in odd numbers, the pagoda tiers. Or are they even? And then the umbrellas are odd. I always get confused. Yeah, it's hard to tell because they're always on this like lotus platform base. 1, 2, 3. Bases here, and then it's easier to count in between how many than it is to count the eaves sometimes. Let's see, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13, yeah. Oh, is that a double dragon or a single dragon up there? Single dragon. 5 claws, imperial. Yeah, I think if I can reduce this bag so I don't have the my more important to carry my lunch than a guidebook that half the time I don't want to pull out. It's a pain in the butt. And I used in Tokyo Lonely Planet's ebook, and the iPhone forced me to open it up. I think I bought it in the iPhone App Store. Would have been a better deal to buy it off Lonely Planet, I think. At least give Lonely Planet more of the money. Whether it's gonna work or not on the ebook reader for Apple, but it forced me to open it up in their ebook reader, which was a pain in the butt, and it was on my iPhone 4S that I was using as my, you know, informational phone when I do all my mapping and stuff on this. So, you know, a little frustrating to, this is shooting at 120 frames per second. I can already tell. My old camera app was doing 60 frames per second. So this is double frames per second. So that means a lot less blurring if I do that, you know. And just the general shakiness of the camera as I'm walking is much more refined, much less blurry. So that's nice. Oh yeah, I could zoom in on that, can't I, if I wanted to. How nice to be able to do that if I choose to. I don't mind the sun sometimes, the image as it shows. I can taste you on my lips. People think it's on macho or something to use the umbrella, but I'll tell you what, I hate putting on sunscreen. I used to have to do it every morning when I was a lifeguard, and my strategy would be to put it on during my first sit in the chair before the sun got real hot. Put the umbrella up, put my lotion on, and then put it all over my face, and then wait for it to set in. I'd use waterproof, and then I'd go jump in the water, but I wouldn't towel off because it would rub it off, just to make sure it wasn't in my eyes. And it would still end up stinging your eyes half the time, you know. Wear a headband and all sorts of ways to try to keep it out of your eyes. And if you're walking around and you're sweaty, it's getting in your eyes, you're trying to like squint and look down all the time at your camera, that's when it really runs in your eyes. I remember as a lifeguard, I have to hold my book up in front of me because if I try to look down, sunscreen would run in your eyes with your sweat. So it's easier to just use the umbrella, and it's the added bonus that it stops glare.
孙哥，哎，我跟你说点事儿，哎，明天不是我歇吗？啊，歇吧，啊，明天我睡觉。
Stops glare on your camera.
春丽也不是说明天去干嘛，要不然说明天去。您歇吧，您很快似的，我这第25个了就行了。啊，您这多想你，你不能说好了不歇吗？
Fall in China. Yeah, I'm supposed to be in Seoul, Korea for October. I forget if I schedule myself to be there during the Golden Week or after the Golden Week. I want to think I schedule myself to be there after, like after October 7th, but I don't know now. I might not have realized that Korea celebrates Golden Week too, so I'll have to change my reservation at the hostel that I booked, which is fine with me because I'm moving into a new apartment in New York on October 1st, and I was going to do like a 24-hour turnaround. It's going to be impossible if I have to move. I mean, I only have a few suitcases, but still, it would be nice not to be rushed. So these are corbelled brackets. Dugong, pieces of dugong are just maybe ordinary corbels. You can see here, this is just an ordinary corbel, which is a bracket that holds up the overhanging eave on traditional Chinese architecture. They have a bunch of these at the Bowers Museum in Orange County, California. That was my first introduction to Chinese corbels. The wooden corbels they have at the Bowers collection. Bowers Museum. It's a good museum. Probably my second favorite museum after the Getty Villa, actually, in California. Or the Rosicrucian, maybe. Third favorite. So they get quite elaborate in their carving. They tell little stories, little village scenes, all sorts of stuff going on. These are carved mostly from single pieces. I think if you look close, you'll see that some of them have been inserted and pegged on or glued on. For the most part, I think we're looking at single piece carvings. I don't think the flash is going to hurt the wood. I don't know if these were painted at one time. Some shutters with flower pattern. This looks like a picture I saw at the Ancient Architecture Museum. Forget where it was showing now. The Ancient Architecture Museum had a gallery similar to this, and they had pictures of different scenes around China, famous art and architecture. Mostly it was buildings, entire buildings and bridges that they were looking at. There's a lantern with some decorations on the post and lintel. I like too how this app, this third-party app, when you turn the flash on and off, it just tap, 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 tap. My old third-party app used to mimic the iPhone's flash, and you go to turn on the flash and it would open up a menu to turn it on, off, or auto. So then you'd have to tap it again, and because of the buttons, it would be impossible to hit it on and off without also foolishly refocusing in the corner of the video as you tried to turn the flash on, because you had to like open the menu and then hit it again, and there were 3 buttons next to each other. So stupid. I understand that the iPhone has to be idiot proof because soccer moms will turn the flash on during their kids' recital and that sort of stuff, which is why they have it set so that you can't even turn the flash on and off once the video is recording. You have to choose to turn it on beforehand or not at all during a video in the iPhone's native app. And they left it that way in the iPhone 8, iOS 8 update they did this past week. So these decorations are from lintels over the doorway. The next thing is I gotta look up how to turn the pause on and off for this video, because that's a nice function. If I want to record the front of a building, go in, go through security, pay my money and all that, do all that sign-in stuff, and not have to record an extra 2 or 3 minutes of it. The problem, they said, is when you turn it on, you reduce the quality of the video. You lose like some frames per second or something. So it's automatically turned, I think, off. The base of stone columns in the shape of ottomans, I guess, with blankets over them. This one's roughly shaped like a Lotus. This is a common motif. I must have left my Wi-Fi on this morning, so I'm already down to 20% battery. I decided when I buy the new iPhone, I'm gonna get an unlocked iPhone so that I can use both phones when I travel overseas as a information phone to put a SIM in. I think we have one more gallery up here. Well, that's good that they don't have a limit. I was worried that I might get cut off after 50 minutes, which traditionally is what most of the camera apps set their default cutoff time to. Once you start shooting these longer videos too, you end up with a lot of potential for errors. Go in this hall. I don't know if I went in this hall. Looks open. No photo? Yeah. Sorry. And this is some of the history, state visits and that sort of stuff. Wanshou Temple, the Temple of Longevity. One of the most famous ancient temples in the western part of Beijing, constructed 5th year, Emperor Wanli, Ming Dynasty, Wanli, maybe? Wanli. History of over 400 years. Original purpose, restoring Buddhist scriptures that were written in Chinese. Exceptionally grand, charming palaces and gardens along the, widely known for its large scales along the Changhe Canal, which connects the Summer Palace and the Forbidden City. So we're on the Changhe Canal, Changhe Canal. Purple bamboo Buddha Hall sits across the canal, was known as its lower courtyard. So that's what they mentioned in the timeout, that there's a purple bamboo hall in the park. But I went to it and it was just really a tea house now, if I didn't find the right one anyway. So that's Emperor Wanli up there. They mentioned him at the Ming tombs, I think. Yongle. I went to Qingling, that was Yongle's grave. World famous Yongle large bell, known as the King Bell. Temple monks would ring the bell each day. 6 of them, huh? Bell was removed and went to Jue Sheng Temple in northwest Beijing, currently the Great Bell Temple during the reign of Emperor Qianlong. So this is now at the Great Bell Temple, which is off line 13. I'd like to get there, but I don't think I'll have time. Portrait of Emperor Gaozhong of Qing Dynasty. Hong Le, Emperor Gaozhong of Qing Dynasty, had Qianlong as the title of his reign. Emperor Qianlong especially favored Wanshou Temple. He would frequently enter the temple for rest and compose poems on his way to royal gardens in West Beijing. In the 16th and 26th years of his reign, Emperor Qianlong respectively held grand ceremonies here to celebrate his mom's birthday. That's what the Palace of Longevity is named after. In Summer Palace for his mom. When she turned 60, he had it built. Qianlong. Hugo Wanshou Temple. Unique architectural style. Yeah, mom's 60th birthday celebration. Empress Dowager Cixi. Now this is Emperor Guangxu. Different emperor. Fragrant woods of 1,000 monks. That shows the canal, with temples on both sides. Emperor Dizhong, enthroned with Guangzhou, title reign. Renovated the temple for his mom's 60th birthday. Empress Dowager Cixi was the power behind the throne up till about the reign of Puyi, who was the last emperor. She was an imperial concubine for Emperor Xianfang. Qing Dynasty was the real ruler of the Qing courts of the Tongji and Guangxu periods. On her way between the Forbidden City and Summer Palace, she'd frequently stop at Wanshou Temple for worshipping Buddha and taking a rest. Hujiao Lo. This is Xanadu Rear Pavilion, located in the west part of Wanshou Temple. Built in the early Qing Dynasty, Empress Dowager Cixi stayed here on her way to the Summer Palace. Here's the layout. That's where they had the chain. They didn't want us going up. We're down here now. 7 miles to the west of Shijimen. That's where the North train station is now. The stop on line 4 too. And line 13 would have been out towards the northwest corner of the Imperial Palace then. Anytime you see men in the subway stop, that's where the subway lines now follow the old city walls. They preserve the names in a lot of the subway stop names. So it was near the Guanyuan Sluice, north bank of Changhe Canal, facing southwestward. Central, Buddhist activities. West section, temporary dwelling for emperors. East section, monks' residential quarters. Orchards. Several halls. This follows the same thing. You enter through the hall to the heavenly kings. They guard from evil spirits. Then you have several main halls here. Buddha's enshrined, blah blah blah. Typical Buddhist layout. Beijing Art Museum officially put in operation at the temple in 1987. So that's what they should do with all these temples, so that you get something more out of your visit than just coughing on incense, you know. At so many of these temples you go and people are just burning incense and all that, and you're like, so this is the Prime Minister of Bangladesh making a visit with his wife. Unless the Prime Minister is the woman, is it? Sheikh Hasina? Maybe it was a woman, the Prime Minister. So that's it. Now I'm gonna head back across the canal and do the I guess I'll go out this way. Get over to the Summer Palace. Want at least 3-4 hours to wander around it. Closes at 5. I've already wandered around the old Summer Palace, so today's a real nice day. I want to get over to the Summer Palace proper. It's 12:15. So I should be able to catch the 12:30 ferry if there is one. Gotta get back over here. So here's the canal where the boats go up and down to the Summer Palace. Now I can separate. The focus is down here, but I want the exposure to be up in the sky so that it's not all washed out and bright. That's a nice feature. Anyway, that was Wanshou Temple. Wanshou Se, or the Temple of Longevity. Now we'll go climb Longevity Hill at the Summer Palace after the boat ride.